a mark of 8. And if you're just waking up, well, good morning and welcome to the arena. Part of Thursday's edition, Throwback Thursday edition, as we like to call it, right here on the Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, sitting comfortably in the heart of the nation's capital, Abuja FCT. So, yeah, it's an interesting Thursday as the month of September is gradually gaining momentum. And today on the arena, we will be looking at the National Convention as the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, quote unquote, the leading opposition party, as they're supposed to be, draws the battle line with Wike's camp. Remember, during the course of the week, the faction known as eminent leaders in the PDP came out with certain demands to the ruling People's Democratic Party, insisting that those demands must be met. If not, their intended convention will not hold. Well, the People's Democratic Party on Tuesday inaugurated a 119-member National Convention Committee and warned individuals or groups working to sabotage the event scheduled for November in Ibadan, or your state, southwest Nigeria, to stay off its course. The 119-member committee is chaired by Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, with Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State as vice chairman, while Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State will serve as secretary. That's the development, as it were. Yeah. And it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting how the developments have evolved over time with regards to the intended convention, because according to the PDP national chairman Umar Damagun, who performed the inauguration in Abuja, the nation's capital, he described it as a step towards strengthening and sustaining PDP through the instrumentality of balloting. Now, Damagun said since he assumed leadership of the party, he had pursued reconciliation and worked to reposition the party structures. Now, he added that despite the challenges facing the party, it remains the leading voice of the opposition and the enduring hope of millions of Nigerians. I don't know if you Nigerians still have confidence in the ability of the PDP to restore some sanity and order to the political arena. I don't know. You tell me. And that's why, as always, our shows are live and interactive, meaning that the studio lines are live and open for your contributions and engagement on the show, especially this morning as we look at the National Convention, and particularly with bias for as the PDP has drawn the battle line with the Wike camp. You know, it has become a case of to be or not to be. I know I've been using Shakespeare's quotes in the last couple of days, but that's the way it looks right now. To be or not to be. Will the convention hold in November as scheduled, or will there be some setbacks as a result of the demands of the Wike camp? Right? Well, Damago, however, said the PDP was not broken or defeated, but marching forward and better prepared to reclaim power in 2027. And he tasked the committee to let fairness, equity, justice, and unity of purpose be their guiding line. Now, in his remarks, the PDP Governors Forum chairman, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, said the forum believed the convention was on course. Mohammed added that while the governors believe in consensus and accommodation, they would no longer tolerate anybody taking the party for granted. The Secretary of the Board of Trustees, BOT, Ahmed McCarthy, cautioned party members against raising tension ahead of the party convention. McCarthy said the tradition of the PDP has always been building consensus, adding that whoever was not comfortable with the zoning arrangement should go to the field to test his capacity. Now, the chairman of the National Convention Committee, Governor Fintiri, pledged the committee's commitment to making history in Ibadan by organizing a credible convention the way it did in 2022. He, however, said while the committee was ready to accommodate all fears, members should refrain from parading the party on the media for personal interest, and advising committee members to leave their comfort zones and make necessary sacrifices to make the convention a success. The Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike led eminent leaders and concerned stakeholders of the PDP had set conditions for the party leadership to ensure a valid and successful national convention. Some of the key conditions were that the PDP convention must be inclusive and the position of the national chairman must remain in the North Central Zone. The convention is scheduled for 15th to 16th November in Ibadan, Oyo State, the Oyo State capital, southwest Nigeria. So, on one hand, it looks as if things are in top gear with the committee. 119 member committee inaugurated, with the committee chaired by Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, with Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State as vice chairman, while Governor Peter Mba of Enugu will serve as secretary. So, on one hand, it looks as if the PDP have it all together. But surprisingly, all may not be well, as the members operating under the platform of eminent leaders and concerned stakeholders of the PDP met in Abuja on Monday night to be precise, and released their demands in a communique read by former Benue State Governor Samuel Otom on Tuesday. Now, some members of the People's Democratic Party, loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, have demanded that the party's national chairmanship be zoned to the North Central as part of their conditions to participate in the party's forthcoming national convention. The members operating under the platform of the eminent leaders and concerned stakeholders of the PDP, as I said, met in Abuja Monday night and released their demands in a communique on Tuesday. Right? So they said while they agree with the recommendations of the zoning committee adopted by the National Executive Council, NEC, that the position of the national chairman should remain in the North, it must remain in the North Central in line with the 2021 convention sharing formula. The other zones in the North are the Northwest and Northeast. The PDP had scheduled its national convention for the 15th to the 16th of November in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. On 25th of August, the PDP NEC, during its meeting in Abuja, of course, decided that retained the chairmanship position in the North and affirmed Ambassador Umar Damagum as substantive national chairman, while zoning its 2027 presidency or presidential ticket to the South. Now, Ambassador Damagum had been in acting capacity since March 2023 following the suspension of Iyorchia Ayu over internal party crisis. His appointment created division within the party before it was later upheld by a court ruling. Now, Ambassador Damagum emerged in line with the PDP constitution, which stipulates that the deputy national chairman from the same zone steps in if a national chairman resigns or is removed. Now, the 2021 zoning arrangement had placed the office in the North Central. Ayu hails from Benue State in the North Central, while Damagum is from Yobe State in the Northeast. Now, let's look at the other demands by the Wike camp. Aside from zoning, Wike's loyalists also asked the PDP National Working Committee to conduct fresh Southeast Zonal Congress in Ebonyi and Anambra State, hold new local government Congress in Ekiti State in compliance with subsisting court judgments, and respect the outcome of the South-South Congress held in Calabar on February 22 2025, right? Now, they also warned that the failure to meet these demands would render the planned November convention invalid, as it would disenfranchise legitimate members, right? So the Wike loyalists, however, have pledged loyalty to the party. I'm still a bit I'm not sure what they understand what loyalty means, because when you look at what is currently going on, you have the FCT minister, though he claims to be a PDP member but working for the APC. You have a former governor of Benue State who right now, I don't know, is he APC, is he PDP? I mean, it's not clear. And then you're talking loyalty. I mean, I don't know. You tell me what you think about all of this. I mean, these guys are pledging loyalty to the PDP while stressing their commitment to work with all party organs to ensure the convention strengthens unity. How does that happen when you're already placing demands and threatening that if your demands are not met, that the convention will not hold? And so, I mean, how are they speaking from both sides of the mouth? I really, I'm trying to make some meaning of what this faction called eminent leaders and stakeholders of the PDP. Well, those are the meeting where, of course, the minister of the FCT, former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, PDP National Secretary Samuel Anyanwu, former governors Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia State, Ayo Fayoshe of Ekiti, and Ifeanyi Ugwanyi of Enugu State, and the House of Representatives Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda. Now, others were Rivers State House of Assembly Speaker Martins Amemwele, serving and former members of the National Assembly, North Central, South PDP Vice Chairman Abdurrahman Mohammed and Dan Obin, State PDP Chairman from Abia, Benue, FCT, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers. Earlier on Monday, the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, had in a media chat said he had been vindicated by the resolution of the PDP NEC to zone the party's presidential ticket to the south. He was silent on the chairmanship position. The former Rivers State governor is a member of the PDP, serving as a minister in the APC-led federal government. He had repeatedly declared support for the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027 of the APC. So that just to give you a bit of background into today's conversation with regards to the convention of the PDP and the fact that the battle line has been drawn, right? Now, of course, naturally, after the release of the communique of the Wike faction or Wike loyalists, there has been reactions, I mean, across board as far as the PDP is concerned. The gloves are off as it stands, because the two main camps in the PDP are set for a battle for the soul of the party before the November National Convention fixed to hold in Ibadan or your state. Now, a camp of the PDP, of course, is led by the federal, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and in a quick counter to the demands that this camp had placed before the PDP, the party has taken a hardline stance against former governors Wike of Rivers, Samuel Otom of Benue, Ayodele Fayoshe of Ekiti, Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia, and Ifeanyi Ugwanyi of Enugu over their 6-point ultimatum. The party declared that it will neither be blackmailed nor hijacked. Now, the clash came to a head in Abuja at the inauguration of the 2025. That was on Tuesday. You know, the Wike faction held their meeting Monday night and came out with their communique by Tuesday morning. And that same Tuesday morning was the morning where the PDP inaugurated the 2025 National Convention Organizing Committee, main committee of 119 members, where PDP National Chairman Ambassador Umar Damagu, Bauchi State Governor and Chairman of the PDP's Governors Forum Bala Mohammed, Chairman of the Convention Committee, and Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri, and former Senate President and Chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, represented by former Kaduna Governor Senator Ahmed Makarfi, openly confronted the threats to the party's cohesion. Yes. And 6 demands by Wike and his camp. Fresh congresses in Ebonyi and Anambra State in line with court rulings, a new Southeast Zonal Congress, immediate conduct of Ekiti local government congresses, respect for South-South congresses outcome upheld by the courts, right? So, an end to micro-zoning beyond the next approved formula, and retention of the national chairmanship position in the North Central. Of course, they warned that failure to comply with these demands would render the forthcoming convention invalid. So, however, Bala Mohammed, governor of Bauchi State, was blunt in his response. He warned that PDP governors will not allow the party to be dragged into self-destruction. Now, he was quoted as saying, and I quote, "We are not cowards. We are not afraid of anybody. But we cannot continue to keep quiet and allow people to take us to the slaughterhouse. That is their job. Our job is to make sure we don't go to the slaughterhouse. We will not allow it. Accommodation does not mean stupidity. If anybody wants to form a faction of fools, we will allow him to go and do so. We are working with the National Working Committee to ensure discipline is maintained. PDP is the only party that has remained consistent since 1999, and we will not allow anybody to take it for granted. Enough is enough," he declared, sending a direct shot at Wike and his camp. And in also reacting to this development, the party's national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagu, reinforced the defiance, declaring that the party will not buckle under pressure. He said, and I quote, "Today, I say with conviction that the PDP is not broken. The PDP is not defeated. The PDP is marching forward stronger, more determined, and better prepared to reclaim the presidency of this great country and rebuild Nigeria from the mismanagement of the current ruling party." Right? Damagu accused the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, of backing internal saboteurs in order to destabilize the PDP. End of quote. So it's an interesting development, so to say, as far as the PDP's build up to their national convention is concerned. Also reacting, Senator Ahmed McCarthy, who represented Senator Wabara, appealed for restraint, but he also warned that the majority will not be held hostage by a few. He was quoted as saying, "The work of the Convention Planning Committee is quite challenging, and it is not about excluding anybody, but it is also not about denying the majority their right to prevail, because that is what democracy is about. A convention is not about 100% agreement, but about the overwhelming majority. That is what must be reflected at the convention." End of quote. And of course, Convention Committee Chairman Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa vowed to deliver a free and fair convention. He made it clear that no amount of pressure from within or outside the party will derail the process. He was quoted as saying, and I quote, "I will not place our relationship above this party. I will deliver on my assignment. Nobody will be denied the chance to contest any position. Buy the forms, submit them, and test your popularity before the delegates. That is how democracy works." Fingering PDP members who frequently escalated issues to the press, Fintiri lashed out and he said, and I quote, "Let us not take all our matters to the media. It is becoming too embarrassing. If you are a party man, you settle issues within the party. We will not allow indiscipline and blackmail to derail the process." End of quote. He assured members that his committee will deliver the fairest and most credible convention ever and called on them to rise above selfish interest. The secretariat is open. The work begins now, and I call on all members of the committee to sacrifice personal comfort to ensure that we deliver a transparent, successful convention that will send a clear message. PDP is alive, PDP is united, and PDP is ready to take power. End of quote. Party leaders made it clear they will no longer bend to threats. While Wike and his allies may have set demands, the PDP leadership insists the party's future will be guided by discipline and, of course, majority will and readiness to return to power. Majority will carry the day, and, of course, readiness to return to power. So, how has the Wike camp been able to raise these fresh hurdles? I mean, because I remember, I think it was last week or upper week, I did have a PDP chieftain on the show, and the picture painted was that the PDP is looking good, especially in the build after their 102nd NEC meeting that went quite successfully, I must say, that the PDP was looking good. Only just barely hours to the inauguration of the convention committee, main committee, demands have been placed by a camp within the PDP. So, at a high-powered stakeholders meeting held at the residence of the FCT minister on Monday night, the likes of Otom, Fayose, Beazu, and of course Ugwanye declared that the PDP must return to the path of equity. Now, it is one thing to demand equity, but we must also remember the principle that says that demanding for equity, they are demanding for fairness and inclusivity if it hopes to remain a credible alternative for Nigerians. That's talking about the PDP. So one begins to wonder, I mean, is this how to achieve equity at a time where the party needs to put forward a unified front, at a time where the party is repositioning itself to be a credible opposition to the ruling APC, and at a time where the political arena is not void of all kinds of political activism, especially with the coalition that is currently using the platform of the ADC to be able to push forward its political agenda. So, tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me what your thoughts are. Now, surprisingly, in the build-up to what happened on Monday, and of course the reactions that followed on Tuesday, after the 102nd NEC meeting of the PDP, questions were like, okay, what steps would the PDP take to sanction erring members like the FCT minister, who has been consistently fingered for some of the issues that have reared their heads in recent times as far as the People's Democratic Party is concerned? Even though the party is still struggling to explain its inaction in bringing sanctions against the former Rivers State governor and now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, despite his alleged anti-party activities. Well, despite his open romance with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's APC-led government and repeated verbal swipes at the PDP, Wike has not faced a single disciplinary action. The development has fueled claims that the party has lost the courage to call out one of its loudest deserters to order. But of course, if you look at the stand the PDP leadership has taken on Tuesday following the Wike fractions or Wike's loyalist demands to the PDP, then it is possible. It is possible that we just might see the PDP actually take the bull by the horn. PDP Deputy National Legal Advisor Barrister Okechukwu Osuoha told the media that the problem lies in procedure, not politics. Now, according to him, no formal petition supported with evidence has been submitted against Wike or any other member of the PDP to sanction them. Okay? So, but Wike's critics, all right, within the party argue that the legalistic excuse and lack of sanction only emboldens him against the PDP. And I think that suggestion is quite correct, because if we look at what has happened, I mean, holding a meeting Monday night, knowing very well that the PDP was going to inaugurate members of its national, no serious sanctions or actions have been taken to forestall his excesses, so to say, has made it that he feels that he is like a bull in the china shop. So the point to his unrepentant posture since the 2023 polls, when he spearheaded the G5 governors' rebellion against the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, the group accused Atiku and the party leadership at the time of sidelining the South in the power-sharing arrangement, a quarrel that badly fractured the PDP's electoral chances. Now, since then, Wike has remained defiant, openly applauding Tinubu, taking up a strategic seat in the APC-led federal government, and allegedly working to weaken the PDP's structures in Rivers and other states without as much as a sanction. I mean, big question. Big question. Analysts warned that the PDP's hesitation in sanctioning Wike could have far-reaching consequences ahead of 2027. Now, to many, Wike has effectively positioned himself as a power broker across two parties, leaving the PDP torn between enforcing discipline and risking further implosion. So, to be honest, the situation of the PDP is now looking like what we in the media tend to refer to as having to deal with the devil and the deep blue sea. Yes, or let me use the American phrase of being between a rock and a hard place. Yes, being between a rock and a hard place. So I don't know. You tell me, what do you think as political watchers and following developments in the build-up to 2027? Is there hope for the PDP? Let's look at the political arena critically as it stands. The only party that seems not to, it has its own internal issues, but somehow they've kept it under wraps, right? They've tried to manage. They seem to have some kind of crisis management mechanism that has kept it under wraps. I mean, just recently, Mr. President met with the CPC faction of the APC that used to be the backbone of late President or late former President Muhammadu Buhari, led by former Governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Al-Makura. And then, of course, we all are witnesses to the fallout of that meeting, where Mr. President revealed that his government has met the target for 2025 revenue and all of that. But most importantly, he made some very, strong political statement. One, a Buhari house will be built, and that house will stand strong. And of course, at the end of that interaction, the leader of the delegation, former governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Al-Makura, did guarantee Mr. President of their continued support, especially in the build-up to 2027. So you could say to a certain extent that it is almost a done deal for the APC with regards to Mr. President's return or or re-election in 2027. If you leave the APC, let's look at the ADC. Right now, the ADC is still shrouded in all kinds of controversy. Even though they try to put a united front, but legally and technically, the party is still yet to really position itself with working structures to suggest that they are truly ready in the build up to 2027. Of course, some political analysts and political watchers will suggest that there's still a bit of time between now and 2027 for them to get their acts together. But at the state levels, a lot of things are happening. I give you an example. In Abia, for instance, where there seems to be a tussle of power. Senator Eyinaya Baribe, about a week ago, had some kind of a meeting where the fallout of that meeting suggested that the state chairman of the ADC, in the person of Don Norman Obinna, had been suspended. And ever since, it's been a back and forth. And that's just one out of several other states that are having internal issues. So when you look at that, of course, political watchers are not so confident to put their money on the ADC. Now, let's look at the Labour Party. The Labour Party has been, ever since after the 2023 polls, the Labour Party has been bedeviled by internal crisis. You have the Abure faction and all of that, and it's becoming somewhat evident that the Abure faction, as it has been speculated or alleged, have been working against the progress of the party. So right now, and one very evident fact is the fact that their 2023 presidential flag bearer, in the person of Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State, his body language has not in any way suggested that he intends to continue with the Labour Party. And that's why over time there's been speculations, rumors about the PDP trying to woo him to come back, and which also led to the conversation we had yesterday on the show about the fact that there are suggestions of a Jonathan Obi candidature to fly for the 2027 elections for the PDP. But again, it's just permutations. It's still speculations. So nobody is sure which way it's going. And then when you look at the political players themselves, if you're talking about Peter Obi, you're talking about Atiku Abubakar, who has insisted that he will run in 2027, Rotimi Amechi, and of course, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former president, I beg your pardon, has not even indicated his interest. And I did say yesterday, we've seen this happen over and over, right? And it won't be surprising that in the, as we would like to say, die minute, he will come out and say, look, I'm not interested in running. We took reactions of his wife yesterday, former First Lady, Patience Jonathan, saying, look, as far as she's concerned, she and her husband have no business in Asu Rock. Why should he go back there? And she had already given her word to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that she will support his candidature in 2027. So when you look at all of this ripples developing from different aspects of the political chessboard, you begin to understand that it is important that the PDP take decisive step to be able to give some ray of hope to Nigerians in the build-up to 2027. Because as analysts have warned, the PDP's hesitation in sanctioning um, members of its party that seem to constantly find reasons to create problems within the party, especially fingers pointing at the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, could have far-reaching consequences ahead of 2027. To many, Wike has effectively positioned himself as a power broker across two parties, leaving the PDP torn between enforcing discipline and risking further implosion. So when you look at all of this, you will all understand why it is important that um, the PDP takes very stringent measures to ensure that, as they have promised, that discipline, fairness, inclusivity are carried out within the party. You understand? To ensure that the party stands strong in the build-up to 2027. Okay. All right. So now all kinds of reaction. Of course, the minister of the FCT has been consistently in the eye, will I say, in the eye of the storm. Now, as a fallout of his recently held media talk where he revealed a number of things, the fallout is that former presidential media aide and my colleague and big brother, Ruben Abati, has called out the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, saying he has no moral ground to speak about Peter Obi, Goodluck Jonathan, and Nasser El-Rufai. Now, according to Abati, Wike needs to question his own character before he speaks about other people. Yeah. I mean, I think what Abati is saying is that it's the case of the kettle calling the pot black. Pardon me for using the phrase my mom used to use as we're growing up as a kid. According to Abati, Wike needs to question his own character before he speaks about other people. The veteran journalist made the summation on Tuesday while speaking on his popular TV platform in reaction to some earlier comments from Wike during his media chat on Monday, right? So you could see that Wike deliberately set the stage, knowing very well that this would unsettle the political arena, one. Two, would unsettle the PDP, and three, consistently put him in the spotlight. So the FCT minister had cautioned Peter Obi against returning to the People's Democratic Party after calling the party rotten, and also advised Jonathan, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to resist the urge to contest the 2027 presidency. However, Abati maintained that Wike had no right to talk about both men. He also blamed the media, the fourth estate of the realm, who consistently interviewed the former Rivers State governor and gave him screen time just in exchange for monetary benefits. So let's hear Ruben Abati at this point in time and have that conversation where he will, we can take some thoughts from that conversation. Okay, so.
Yet, in 2025, Nigeria remains the country with the highest number of zero-dose children in Africa. Market
Very quickly, years of working, that's his name. Now, he is saying that if Mr. Peter Obi comes back to the PDP, the PDP will be destroyed because Peter Obi doesn't have the character. Having condemned PDP as a rotten party to come back to the PDP. Wike is not in a position to talk about character. Okay? He is not everybody wants to talk about character. In fact, if he talks about character, he should question his own character. I don't know why people have problems with basic intelligence and decorum. He goes on television and he says, Peter Obi doesn't have character. Peter Obi left PDP and went to Labour Party. Now he's in ADC. In fact, it is Wike'S himself that destroyed the party. And he also says President Jonathan should not come by. He's not in a position to advise President Jonathan, just as he has made it clear that nobody can advise him. These are some of the issues in the last 24 hours. Okay? And who is he to determine the destiny of the People's Democratic Party when he is already in another political party? And I blame the media. The media gives him platform to disparage other political opponents. Yesterday he was talking about Peter Obi, he was talking about President Jonathan, he was talking about messi, Rufai. What gives him that moral high ground to talk recklessly and unintelligently? Because the media, what is the media looking for? The media, they are the ones who go to intervene, they are the ones who collect money to put him on the air. If he's talking about the FCT, yes, fine. But if he's disparaging other political opponents, the media has an obligation to give all the other persons that have been disparaged to have a right of reply. So we should not create a situation whereby, for monetary reasons, the Nigerian media is sucking up to a minister of the Federal Republic who, in my view, is overreaching himself. What is the other issue?
So there you have it, the reaction of former presidential aide Ruben Abati, talking about the things that the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, said, in his media chat on Monday, and the need to be able to create, a balanced reporting, as it were. Of course, he cautioned the media to stop giving a platform for Wike to make out overreaching and disparaging claims about political opponents. And I agree. I mean, it's only natural that the story should be balanced, right? You hear from both sides. You give both sides the opportunity to be able to state the matter and allow the public make up their mind as to how they want to interpret the information that has been provided. Right, so it's important. It's important that in the build-up to 2027, as we have these conversations, that we do not allow our emotions, we do not allow sensationalism to take the center stage. We must be able to objectively look at issues, especially as it relates to the polity and politics per se. It's important that we have open conversations. That's why every time I say that we are live and interactive and that the studio lines are open, I'm always emphasizing on the need for civility and the fact of having objective, open conversations. Nobody knows it all. We don't all have the answers, right? But the idea is, if there is a cross-fertilization of ideas, superior argument, as I like to call it, it makes room for progressive growth. Yes, inclusive, external, and progressive growth. Especially now that we claim to be under the dispensation of progressives, we need to make that progress in a very objective manner, in a strategic approach or strategic manner. And I agree with Ruben Abati that there is need for the media to be that space where all parties can come and put their opinions on the table with a view to ensuring that at the end, Nigeria benefits. Nigeria must be at the positively receiving end of all of those things, and not the situation we currently witness, where an individual or a group, out of personal selfish interest, is ready to, sacrifice the collective commonwealth of a nation of well over 250 million people. And that's why most Nigerians continue to question the kind of leadership we have. Because when you see their body language and the kind of utterances they make, you wonder if truly they are there for the interest of the people. And that's why I belong to the school of thought that what we currently practice cannot be said to be democracy, because as I continue to emphasize, that democracy simply means the people come first. The people come first. So, and I have continued to advocate that scholars of political science, political stakeholders need to come together and come out with a better definition of what we currently practice. Because honestly, from where I stand, I know people who say, as a presenter, you're not supposed to have an opinion. But don't forget, I am first a Nigerian before being a presenter. So I am also a stakeholder in this project called Nigeria. And so I am also entitled to an opinion. But I am not forcing my opinion down anybody's neck, but I am only in the quest of bringing superior argument to the table, suggesting that we need to take a step back and look at this thing we call democracy that we just yesterday I was watching a video where a young man was talking about the fact that even America, that is supposedly the oldest democracy on the planet, has acknowledged that democracy is no longer the best option. Looking at China, I mean, a one-party state, a communist nation, a progressively capitalist communist nation, as it were. We have seen China evolve through time. And today, just yesterday, they had their military parade as part of efforts to celebrate in remembrance of World War II. And China used that opportunity to position itself as a world power, or a world superpower, sending very strong signals to the West that, look, right now, you're probably not even on the global chessboard. And I can imagine what is going through the mind of a Donald Trump, the leader of the free world, the land of the brave. And I wonder how, what is also going through the mind of the leader of the largest black nation on planet Earth. Fine. There was a bold statement by Mr. President yesterday or day before yesterday that we shouldn't be rattled by the visa revocations and the tariffs by Donald Trump. But we can't President Donald Trump and his administration, but we are not isolated. Yes, we may have buffers, but we are not isolated. And like I did say, even though the Mr. President, tried to, according to his administration, the 2025 target for revenue, but data gaps show that there is some disparity between what Mr. President has put out there and what the numbers are saying. And for those of us who follow the numbers never lie. They don't lie. So there's still a whole lot that, or will I say, there are a lot of questions still begging for answers. And so the only way to begin to get those answers is for us to have conversations that position us as a people and position Nigeria as a nation on the path to peace, prosperity, and progress. Yeah, peace, prosperity, and progress. All right, so tomorrow will be the, thank God it's Friday edition of the Arena, and you never know. We just might do a roundup of all the developments just to give you an insight into what to expect during the weekend. Because, as I said, Nigeria has become a basket case of anything can happen. Let me borrow the words of Charlie Boy. Anything can happen in Nigeria. So now Nigerians, whether we like it or not, we kind of sleep with one eye closed, one eye open, not knowing what will happen. In parts of the north, the subject of insecurity still very much on the table. Mr. President says it is time to institute state policing, and he is ready to make it happen. So the subject of state policing may just be beginning to take form, but it's not just about saying it. It's about putting the needed structures and systems in place to make it happen. Of course, security stakeholders in the security sphere will say that with the presence of the civilian JTF and the system that we have currently, where states like in the southeast, in the southwest, we have Amotekun, in the southeast they have Ebubuagu, and just across the country, that now it is how to marry all of this and come out with a security framework that ensures significant results by bringing to the barest minimum the subject of insecurity, banditry, terrorism across the country. Well, that wraps it up for today's edition of The Arena. Remember, even when the show goes off the air, the conversation continues online. So I advise strongly that you become part of our online community by following, liking, sharing VOP 961 FM on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, formerly known as Twitter. And of course, we are streaming live. Special thanks to everybody who viewed the stream yesterday and today. We appreciate that you are following developments on VOP 961 FM. Don't forget to follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to also click on the notification button so that you get to see developments right here on the Voice of the People. As we say, now you have a voice. I am Nkamian John, the beloved, also known as the controversial. Thanking you for being for allowing us to be a part of your morning. Remember, I promise to